All right. Um, it is 1 o'clock on the dot, and we are going to get started. We'll have others join us as they come in. I just wanted to say good afternoon and thanks for logging in today. I'm going to go over just a few housekeeping notes before we get started. In this webinar format, you can see and hear me, but I cannot see and hear you. This webinar is being recorded and will be sent to all attendees after today's session, along with a survey link and a slide deck. We appreciate all feedback as it lets us know what we're doing well and what can be improved in the future. Please place all questions in the Q&A box at the bottom toolbar. It's the one that looks like two chat boxes next to one another, and I'll address them all at the end. My name is April Myerscough. I'm the Public Programs Coordinator with Florida Humanities, and I am the point person for all of your Florida Talks needs. Today, I'm going to cover information about our organization if you're new to us, information about the Florida Talks program, how to apply, and steps to host once you've been approved to host a Florida Talks program, some frequently asked questions, and Q&A. So if you're unfamiliar with our organization or new to us, Florida Humanities is the state affiliate of the National Endowment of the Humanities and was established in 1973. We are primarily a grant-making and grant-distributing organization to assist other cultural organizations to develop and execute public humanities programming. Our mission is to preserve, promote, and share the history, literature, and culture and personal stories that offer Floridians a better understanding of themselves, their communities, and their state. Florida Talks is the companion public program to our Speakers Bureau. Florida Talks offers nonprofit organizations statewide an accessible way to bring speakers from that bureau to their communities in a pretty simple and flexible way. Speakers present Florida's history, heritage, and culture through historical and contemporary lenses. There are over 30 high-quality authors, scholars, journalists, historians, storytellers, and content area experts on our directory, and more than 60 programs to choose from. All programs are suitable for out-of-school adults ages 18 and older and include a 40 to 50-minute presentation and time for audience questions and opening and closing remarks. All programs can also be held virtually or in person. Florida Humanities provides several benefits to host organizations. We pay a standard pre-negotiated honorarium of $300 directly to each speaker. We also provide templated marketing materials and comprehensive media kits, including press releases and sample social media post text. Along with these marketing tools, we offer statewide publicity through Florida Humanities social media, e-newsletters, and digital events calendars. Florida Humanities has surveys for both virtual and in-person programs, and we send compiled responses to the organization and speaker once the program is complete. Lastly, organizations receive complimentary copies of our award-winning magazine Forum to distribute at in-person programming. Florida Humanities encourages all Florida Talks programs to be free and open to the public. Events cannot be closed or member-only events such as board meetings or part of conferences. Florida Talks events cannot be part of a fundraising event either or a fundraising drive. If you do charge an attendance fee to attend the program, it must be minimal and considered non-prohibitive for your area or what we consider for a family of 4 to attend a program. So who is eligible to host a Florida Talks program? All in-state organizations constituted for nonprofit purposes are eligible to apply for and host Florida Talks programs. These include nonprofit organizations, local municipalities like city and county governments, cultural and civic organizations, and educational entities like colleges and universities. Eligibility for all organizations is confirmed through a GuideStar charity check to verify your 501c status. As well, all organizations must have a unique entity ID or SAM number. SAM numbers are 12-digit alphanumeric codes that are distributed to each organization and replaced DUNS numbers in April 2022 by the federal government. If your organization had a DUNS number previously, it has been automatically replaced with a SAM number without any additional action required from your organization. We have instructions on our website on how to identify your organization's SAM number or on how to obtain one if you don't have one already. The most common hosts of Florida Talks programs are libraries and library systems, museums, and historical societies. Of course, you don't have to be one of those organizations to host a Florida Talks program. If you are a library, museum, or historical society, a friends group, city or county government, foundation, or association may apply on your behalf to host a Florida Talks program if necessary. Although most organizations across Florida are eligible to host Florida Talks programs, there are some entities that are ineligible. For-profit businesses, companies, and organizations are ineligible. Individuals applying independently outside of an organization, and out-of-state organizations may not apply to host a Florida Talks program, and all applications received from these types of organizations will be considered ineligible. All applications to host a Florida Talks program must be submitted at least 6 weeks before the first intended program date or dates. Organizations may apply to host multiple speakers, up to 3, in one application if all programs occur within 90 days. This option is if your organization would like to host a series of speakers in a shorter amount of time. For example, you may apply to host 3 programs in one application, one in January, one in February, and one in March, all in one application. Or you may host 2 speakers in February and 1 in March, or even all 3 in March. This guideline has been changed since the applications launched in the summer based on organizations' feedback, and just for clarity, it is now up to 3 speakers within 90 days as opposed to up to 3 speakers within 30 days. We advise you to choose multiple programs throughout the year and not host the same speaker several times in a row unless they're presenting different programs. Organizations will be notified within 14 days of submission whether they have been approved or denied. There is no limit to how many programs an organization can host in a calendar year. You can have other open Florida Humanities grants and still be eligible to host a Florida Talks program, but your organization may not have more than one active Florida Talks application at a time. While this application is quite simple, not all applications are approved. Funding for this program is limited, and not all eligible organizations may be approved for support. To support organizations of all sizes and capacities, Florida Humanities offers up to $250 in travel reimbursement funding for in-person programs to organizations with operating budgets of $250,000 or less. Organizations must request travel reimbursement in their application, and it is distributed upon receipt and processing of a final report. Travel receipts are required for some line items. Eligible travel reimbursement line items include mileage, tolls and parking, per diem, lodging, auto rental, and other. If you include other, that has to be described and is awarded on a case-by-case basis. Be advised that this $250 maximum is per application, not per each individual program. Say you are opting to host 3 programs in one application and you'd like to apply for travel reimbursement, that's $250 total to support all 3 speakers. So now I'm going to preview a few programs suitable for some upcoming months and observances and holidays. But all of our programming is suitable year-round. If you have any questions about what's been covered so far, please place them in the Q&A box and I will address them at the end of the presentation. So we have a few programs to recognize upcoming holidays and remembrances in January, which is right around the corner, including International Holocaust Remembrance Day on January 27th, Martin Luther King Jr. Day on January 16th, and a little bit more obscure, Zora Neale Hurston's birthday on January 7th. And you can learn more about these programs on our program directory. We also don't have a shortage of programming to recognize Black History Month in February. This is just a sample of what we offer. We also have a program about the United States presidents in Florida, perfect for President's Day on February 17th. And lastly, for March, we have a few programs to celebrate Women's History Month and International Women's Day on March 8th. You can see on the left. And if your organization is interested in hosting a program for World Water Day on March 22nd, we have some programs about Florida's relationship with the environment. And these three over here out of the selection particularly focus on our relationship with water. You can find complete descriptions of these programs on our online program directory, and I'll show you in a couple of slides about how to access it. So I'm now going to cover the steps to apply to host a Florida Talks program and the steps to take if your application has been approved. If you have any questions about anything I've covered so far, please place them in the Q&A box and I'll go over them at the end. The first step is to browse the online program directory and select a program or programs that you would like to host at your organization. If you're familiar with our previous directories, be advised that we have changed it to be a program-focused one instead of a speaker-focused one. We have a list of the speakers available as a PDF on our website, but be advised that that list doesn't include descriptions of the program or any contact information of the speakers. Simply select the program you are interested in and scroll down to the bottom of the page to the speaker's contact information. We ask that you contact the speaker directly by telephone or email and arrange all event details with them before applying. Once you have confirmed participation and details with your speaker, you can then begin an online application through our portal. Directions to create an account are available on our login page. I'll show you what that looks like in a couple of slides. Alternatively, you can use existing credentials for your organization if you already have an account with Florida Humanities. We cannot reset any information for you, but there is a reset password button on the home page. Applications, again, are due at least 6 weeks before the first program date, and we accept applications year-round. So there's no particular time period that we do or do not accept applications or when the application is open or not. So to learn more about our offered programs, you can visit the Florida Talks webpage, select the online Florida Humanities Program Directory buttons. Once selected, you will see the page at number 2 here, as well as an alphabetical listing by program name. If you want to narrow down your search topic, say you're interested in hosting a program about a particular subtopic, you can click one of the blue rectangles below and it'll filter out programming based on that subheading. So once you click on a program, the image will look like that in number 3 here. It includes important information about the program length, the presenter's needs if they're hosting a program in person, and most importantly, a summary of the program. Below the description of the program is information about the presenter. It includes a brief biography and introductory video about the speaker, and they talk about their background and the programs they offer through Florida Humanities. Most importantly, it includes the contact information of the speaker. Remember that contacting the speaker directly to set up when your organization is interested in hosting them is the first/second step in the process. So you can see in this screenshot here, right underneath their biography, we have both a phone number and an email available for all speakers. Next, wait for a decision email from Florida Humanities staff after you apply. Applications are processed within 2 weeks of submission. Not all applications may be approved as funding is limited. Do not advertise the program until you have received notification from Florida Humanities. Notification is sent through our online application portal. Once you have been notified of approval, confirm details with the speaker, including any travel costs. We have a host organization and speaker sample agreement document available for organizations to use as a sample of solidification of terms on the Florida Talks homepage. Please be advised that this document is a sample only and doesn't solidify any agreements between the organization and Florida Humanities. Organizations are required to submit an event listing form to capture all details of the program, including a date, time, location, a registration link if applicable, and important details for the public to know, like if you're going to be serving food or where people can park to attend the program. As well, this is where your organization can request survey cards for in-person programs and copies of Forum magazine. The event listing form is due within 7 days of approval and available on the Florida Talks webpage. The link is also directly sent in the approval email to the project director. After your approval, you can begin advertising your program. The approved email includes a Google Drive link to a Florida Humanities created marketing kit that includes our logos, credit lines, and templated social media text, press release, and guide on how to advertise your program. We recommend that you use these documents to help advertise your programs, but using our templated press release isn't required. However, we do require that you use both logos and the credit line in all digital and print material. So you can see here, these are the two logos that we require. You use our Florida Humanities logo and the Florida Department of State Division of Cultural Affairs, or the Culture Builds Florida logo. If you also have any questions about marketing as a host organization, you can reach out to our communications director, LaShonda Curry. Her email is available on our website in the screen here and will be available in the approved email sent to the project director. So before your event occurs, we recommend testing any necessary technology, AV equipment, and the digital meeting platform before the event. Florida Humanities does not provide technology support for Florida Talks programs. After the program has concluded, distribute and collect the Florida Humanities audience evaluation surveys, which look like this here. If the program is virtual, we have a digital survey link accessible on the website. If it is in person, we mail each organization survey cards. Again, they look just like this, based on the amount requested in your event listing form. Survey cards can be sent to the address listed on the website after the program. It's also on the back of the card. Those survey responses are compiled and sent to the speaker and organization upon receipt. Organizations must complete a final report within 7 days of the final program. Final reports are accessible through the online application portal using the same login as when you applied. If you're hosting multiple programs under one application, the final report will be due within 7 days of that last program date, and all programs are covered in one final report. Be advised that the final report is assigned to the account holder, who might be different than your project director. If you have requested and have been approved for travel reimbursement, the form is available through the final report and looks like the image on the right here. Remember to attach and send any relevant or required receipts with the travel reimbursement form. All of the travel reimbursement line items that require receipts are listed on the form and on our website. Please only complete the top half of the form, as the bottom half is for our staff to use only. So now that I've gone over the hosting process, I'm going to go through the application itself. If you have any questions about what I've discussed so far, please place them in the Q&A box to be addressed at the end of the webinar. So the first step to apply is to log in through the online application portal available on our website. If you have an account already, simply use the same credentials. If you need to make an account, you can click the Create New Account button here, but we have instructions available on how to create an account in the gray box here. You can also reset your password underneath the login buttons here, as we can't do it for you, and be advised that this application can be saved and completed later if you need to, just by clicking the Save button at the bottom of the screen. So once you've logged in, this is a little bit of what the screen will look like. You may have to scroll down to find it, as all of our open grant opportunities are organized alphabetically, but I believe if you go in within the next few weeks at the end of 2022, this will be the only open application at the moment. To preview an application, you can click the preview button on the bottom left here, which looks like an eyeball. And to start an application, you can click the blue button on the up here at the top. So the first section of the application is to identify the host organization information. The host organization is the organization that is coordinating, organizing, and presenting the programs and is the primary contact with Florida Humanities. Be advised that the host organization and location for the program may be different, such as you might be a historical society, but you're going to host the program at your local community center. You will also need to provide your organization's federal ID number, which is a 9-digit number with 2 digits, a dash, and then 7 more digits, and a SAM number, which I talked about in the previous slide. Again, we have instructions on our website and a link within the application on how to obtain and access your organization's SAM number. You will also need to provide information for a project director. The project director is a staff member board member, or volunteer affiliated with the host organization that will oversee the program or programs and acts as a liaison between Florida Humanities and the organization. All communication regarding the program is sent to the project director, and we mostly communicate through email. Please select someone at your organization that can be a reliable contact if the person who is completing the application is not the project director. Having a project director is required to be a host organization because we need a liaison between you and your organization to make sure the program runs smoothly and all forms are completed in time. Within the application, there's also a section about travel reimbursement. First, you select yes or no if you are applying for travel reimbursement, and if you select yes, a few other questions will pop up here. You will need to provide your organization's most recent operating budget, so we can double check that, and Florida Humanities corroborates the budget through a GuideStar charity check again for eligibility. You will have to also provide an estimated amount and details using the rates described in the instruction box. Again, this amount may not exceed $250, and what you include is only an estimation. If your organization is approved, we recognize that amount may change after the program occurs, but it still cannot be above that $250 maximum. And again, that $250 is for one whole application. It's not per speaker if you're hosting more than one speaker in your application. So if you're a repeat partner or you're familiar with our organization or other grant programs, you may be wondering about cost share and how that factors into this new application process. We don't ask about cost share in the application anymore, just in the final report. There is no longer a minimum cost share or match required. However, everything spent, used, donated, or done in support of the program has a dollar value. We recommend tabulating cost share totals as you go through to make the final report easier, such as logging hours of staff time, keeping receipts of what you purchase, and keeping separate donations. Cost share can be accounted for in cash or in-kind costs as remaining travel costs, marketing costs like printing flyers or paying for social media advertisements, staff and volunteer time, digital meeting platform fees like your Zoom subscription or ClickMeeting subscription for the month, refreshments for attendees, even if those are donated by another restaurant or organization or grocery store, and any venue and equipment rental if you're using equipment in a different venue than your own organization's building. The federal rate for volunteer hours will be available in the final report, but currently it is $28.54 an hour. What you see on screen for cost share is not a comprehensive list by any means. I should also mention that if you are approved for travel reimbursement, you cannot count the reimbursement amount towards your cost share. While there is no minimum cost share, we strongly recommend that you do have a minimum of at least $300 per speaker to reflect what we pay the speakers honoraria. Cost share accrues much more quickly than you anticipate, so we advise that you closely track all of your expenses, time you spend, and anything donated to you to help make the program a success. So I'm now going to go over some frequently asked questions that organizations and applicants have about the program. And if you have any questions at this time, I recommend you place them in the Q&A box, but it might get answered in just a few minutes. So the top question is, can I apply for a Florida Talks program with a speaker who is not on your bureau? You cannot apply for a Florida Talks program with a speaker who is not on our bureau. If you're interested in hosting someone who is not on our bureau, we recommend you apply for a community project grant, which is more of a project-based application process to host them with Florida Humanities support. So can I apply for a Florida Talks program if I have another open Florida Humanities grant? The answer is yes. You can apply to host a Florida Talks program if you have another grant with us open. You cannot have more than one Florida Talks application open at a time, however. So the next question is, what does Florida Humanities provide my organization? Florida Humanities pays speakers a standard non-negotiable rate of $300 directly to them for both in-person and virtual programs. We provide templated marketing materials, evaluation tools and compiled responses, copies of Forum magazine for in-person programs, and statewide publicity through the social media and Florida Humanities events calendars. So how many speakers can I host? Organizations may host up to 3 speakers per application. If your organization is interested in hosting more than one speaker in one application, all programs must occur within 90 days of one another. There is no limit to how many Florida Talks programs an organization may host each year, and applications remain open year-round. When do I have to apply to host? Applications must be submitted at least 6 weeks before the first program date to be considered eligible. However, we encourage you to apply as soon as you know your dates to host your program. Organizations are notified of their application status within 14 days of submission. And like I said before, they remain open year-round. There's no particular deadline or closing date or cycle of applications anymore. So why would my application be denied? An application may be denied if your organization has a Florida Talks application open already, your organization failed to submit a final report for a previous Florida Talks application, which makes you in poor standing, the submitted application is incomplete or missing required information, the proposed program is closed to the public, so it's for board members or it's a members-only program, the application was submitted less than 6 weeks before the program, or the most common reason why an application would be denied is that it does not include a speaker from the Florida Humanities Speakers Bureau. If funding for this program runs out before the end of our fiscal year, our application process will be closed, so nobody else will be able to apply. What are my responsibilities as an organization? Organizations must pay for all other costs associated with hosting a Florida Talks program, including any travel costs for your speakers. You must also complete an event listing form within 7 days of your application being approved, and that's one for each program, and a final report within 7 days of your final program. So can my organization charge a fee for attending? Florida Humanities encourages all Florida Talks programs be free and open to the public. If your organization charges a fee, it must be minimal and considered non-prohibitive for your area. Can my organization record the program? Recording permissions vary from speaker to speaker and should be confirmed with them before the program occurs, including where the recording will be housed and how long it will remain public. So I shared a lot of information with you, and if you're thinking that this might not be the right program for your organization at this time, do not worry, we have several funding opportunities available. The 2023 deadlines were recently announced for our community project grants, so you can check those out on our website, and I encourage you to visit the website on the side here, floridahumanities.org/funding-opportunities to browse all open opportunities and our upcoming ones that don't have a deadline available at this time. If you're not already, I also invite you to sign up for our newsletters at floridahumanities.org/sign-up to receive the latest information about our funding opportunities, when new ones will go live, and events to attend in your area. So that's it from me. I am going to leave my contact information up while I address your questions. If you have any questions, please place them in the Q&A box in the box below, and I'm going to answer them now. I also see that some people submitted questions while I was presenting, so I'm going to address those first. So the first question, is there any special requirements for the surveys? I would say there's not. If you're hosting an in-person program about a month ahead of time, we send you the survey cards in a box with our forum magazine. We ask that you distribute those surveys. It collects information about the program. Participants can leave comments, and then you bundle those up and send them back to us, and then we coagulate all of those responses and send them to you. If you're hosting a virtual program, we have a digital survey. That link is available both on our website and within the hosting introduction email that we send you once your application has been approved. And that has a little bit more in-depth. People can also respond about the technology during the program, if it was good, if they had any troubles with it. We get those responses more immediately than obviously through the mail, and those responses are combined together and sent to the project director and the speaker within a day or two of when your program happened. All right, can you restate which categories are eligible for travel reimbursement? Is it exclusively travel expenses? So what's available for our travel reimbursement? I'm going to scroll back up here to my notes so I don't miss anything. But I can say we cover travel, we call it travel per diem and lodging. So that is auto rental. Give me just one moment. I'm going to scroll back up to my notes to make sure I don't miss it or thank you all for being patient. Okay, here we go. So we can cover mileage, tolls and parking, per diem, lodging, auto rental, and other. And that other must be described. Per diem is meals for the speaker, and we have suggested rates for that as well. We also have a mileage rate, which is 56 cents per mile that you can tabulate your total costs for. Thank you for being patient on our response. I did not want to lead you astray or misspeak anything. And so my next question is, what does the 2854 cost refer to? So because volunteer hours are just that, volunteers, they don't get paid, but we do need to accrue some sort of cost share or put a dollar amount to their work to be considered cost share. The federal volunteer dollar rate is 2854 per hour, and that money and that time can add up really quickly, especially if you have a lot of programs within your application or you're using a variety of volunteers. So people who are welcoming at the door, checking in registrants, serving food, showing people to their seats, or just having volunteers maybe set up the room, take down the room. All of that can be counted as volunteer time dedicated to your program. Clarifying question. I meant in addition to reimbursing for travel, you cover speaker fees. Anything else? At this time, we don't provide funding for anything else for Florida Talks besides speakers and travel fees if it's an eligible organization. That's mostly because we want to keep this process as simple and flexible as possible. If you're interested in hosting some speakers or hosting a program that you need a little bit of extra monetary support with, I recommend you check out our community project grants. There's a variety of funding available. And if you need some extra support in hosting your program, you can check out that avenue of funding. All right, and somebody responded that the volunteer hour is $29.95 for the independent sector, and that is correct, but we actually have to adhere to what the National Endowment for the Humanities recommends and suggests as we are part of them. All right, and if there are any more questions at this time, some lovely positive comments about the new process, which we greatly appreciate. And again, any feedback you can provide about the webinar and the new application process, we greatly appreciate. As you can see, we're changing it all of the time. And I'll give it a couple more minutes if there are any more questions. And it doesn't look like it at this time. So I am just going to say thank you again, and this webinar was recorded and I'll share it in full with attendees after the session, including a slide deck of the slides you saw today. If you have any questions, please, at any time, please reach out. Email is the best way to get in contact with me as we work in a hybrid model, and it may take several days for me to return telephone messages. As we are pretty close to the Thanksgiving and winter holidays, I wanted to say that we will be closed November 24th and 25th, and then again from December 19th through the 30th. But all of our web pages and the application portal will remain open at that time, even if our offices are not open. Just wanted to thank you all again for taking time out of your day to be here, and I hope you have a very good afternoon. Thank you.